Hi, I'm Nick from nickterone.com and Quit with Nick and Healthy with Hemp. I wanted to do a little video to just share some things about what I've come to learn is probably one of the most interesting, most valuable thing to most people, and something I've become increasingly interested in, and I'm helping more and more people with this, is relationships. Interpersonal human relationships, which, whether we realize it or not, is probably one of the most important aspects of being a human being on this planet. Unless you're in a cave on your own, well, you wouldn't be watching this anyway. But when you think about how much relationships are involved in just our day-to-day interactions, we are inevitably tied to them, and it's all around us. Work relationships, colleagues, our superiors, people we manage. That's just the career thing. Candidates, clients, this kind of thing. Then there's your family dynamic, which, as we all know, can be an amazing source of joy. It can also be an intense source of challenge. You know, our parents, the dynamic with our parents, and this applies whether our parents are still around with us or whether they're not. There's always a relationship. Even if your mother is no longer here, when you think of her, you are engaging in that relationship that you have between you and that connection that you have with her. And that can be changed as well, even if the other isn't present and may have passed on. There's always relationship. And then, of course, our father and siblings, and where we are, and what number sibling we are, and all this kind of thing. And then there's relationships with children. If we are parents, this is also a very challenging relationship. Kids are not, we don't come into the world with a handbook. Oh, here, it's taped to my back. My instruction manual is here, and just follow this, and I will grow up to be what you want me to be, and you will be proud, mum and dad. And you just follow the instructions on the manual that's just inserted here, stuck on my back, you know. And there's challenges throughout the ages. When they're babies, then infants, then toddlers, then school, then teenage years. It's a constant. And my boy's 5, you know, so there's always challenges. Being a parent is probably one of the most challenging relationships you're going to be involved in. Then there's the romantic relationship, something that really has been a point of interest for as long as we can remember. There are multiple TV shows about finding your true love, and, you know, dating TV shows, and finding your partner shows. And it's something that has lent itself quite easily to the fantasy, because fantasies sell, you know, creating the ideal that probably no one will ever live up to, and then pointing at that and getting us all running after it as if it's something that can actually happen. And yeah, it's entertainment, that's all cool, but there is an insidious aspect to it, and that is sometimes we can get lost in the fantasy that media will tell us or try to sell us that's possible. And what happens is we actually are not grateful for and don't realize the beauty of the real relationship that is right in front of us, because we're comparing it to some fantasy. You know, oh, but look, on TV, they're always happy, and look, oh, they walk off into the sunset on the beach. I want my relationship to be like that all the time. And the strange thing is, if we stop and think about it, each one of us would know that that is a fantasy, you know. Ups and downs, sideways, highs and lows. The reason why my work and my interest in relationships has gone this way is because, I mean, I've been interested and worked with thousands of people on their interpersonal challenges, you know, things that are going on inside us that we need some help and assistance and guidance with. And being on this journey of inward reflection and trying to understand who and what we are and you are, I am, and on this deeper level, what it does eventually, it leads to the dynamic of being involved with another person, because we've all got our stuff going on. And one of the most important things I wanted to share here and now is the thing that I've come to realize over being a psychotherapist and coach and therapist and hypnotherapist over all these years is I've wondered, because I've done a lot of work on myself, and that's a never-ending journey. You never get to the top of the mountain. There's always another peak and another peak. When you get to one, there's an infinite number of peaks. It's a lifelong journey. But when it comes to relationships and thinking about relationships and what makes a really good relationship and what can break one down, I've come to realize what I believe is probably the biggest thing that can either foster a relationship into flourishing or make it go downhill and inevitably lead to its demise. And that is, it's a couple of things. One is being able to recognize your stuff, taking ownership for your wounds, your issues, your stuff, taking ownership of that and then working on it. Because when two people come together in a relationship, there's clearly what we've got going on within ourselves. And then often, you've probably heard of the word projection or the concept of projection. If you don't own your stuff, you'll point at the other and label them as being X, Y, Z when you're actually just projecting onto them the stuff that you've got going on. But you are dead certain, and look, we've all fallen into this trap. You're dead certain, you are so certain that, no, this isn't me, this is you. This is about you, kind of thing. And when we can recognize our baggage and our stuff that we inevitably bring into any relationship, whether it's at work, family, with our children, but particularly there's something about a romantic love interest that is particularly triggering. It's triggering, but it's an opportunity as well. It's both. It can be a beautiful thing, but it can be the most challenging. It's a double-edged sword, and I think it's because the type of love that can be there, it's the most beautiful thing, but can be the most challenging thing as well. Because when you're inevitably maybe having a disagreement or an argument, or you don't see something eye to eye, or you're looking at a pattern or in this other person in an intimate relationship, then trying to determine and trying to stop for a moment and go, is this my stuff or is this theirs? Honestly, I don't think there is a bigger, there's all the other things like that are important in relationship, like being considerate and being kind and empathetic and grateful and appreciative. And yes, of course, these elements are important and can break relationships. But I'm talking about deeper stuff. We all have our stuff going on, and taking responsibility for that can be one of the biggest journeys and most challenging things anyone will ever embark on. And when you can recognize that, you can own it. And then it helps you distinguish when things aren't going well. It can help you distinguish, right, that's not my stuff, and it won't trigger you. The fact, if something is triggering and you've got strong emotional responses to it, that can be an indication that it's probably somewhere connected to something you're dealing with. Because if something really isn't about you, why would it trigger you so much? Maybe because you're passionate about the idea or a concept. Yeah, maybe. But if you know someone is throwing stuff at you and labeling you and accusing you, and you really have a good solid sense of, actually, that's not mine, it's probably not going to trigger you. If something's got you riled up and, no, that's, it might have, that can be an indication that it's actually your stuff going on, That is if you're in a relationship. But if you're trying to attract a partner, it's also equally important. It's equally important to know your stuff, own it, and then when you start getting involved or things start to happen, you can distinguish. That's not mine, or that's mine, or that's bringing up something for me to look at, etc. So relationships and relationship coaching, counseling, whether it's with individuals or couples, is something that seems to be coming more and more my way over the last few years, and it's something I've always been really, really interested in. I work with people either one-on-one or in a workshop, confidence and resilience building workshop, and there's a link in below this video if you want to know more about a workshop where I share with people scientifically validated tools and techniques to help self-regulate your internal response to stress, adversity, and challenge, and it can help you get in touch with your own inbuilt intuitive guidance, not only to determine what is yours to work on, but also to help with better communication with others in the heat of the moment. So something you might be interested in. Anyway, it was just a little share for today. I'm Nick from nickterone.com, quitwithnick and healthywithhemp.com.au. Take care. Bye.